Good morning, I'm Dilip, Thakore, editor of EducationWorld.
Good morning, I'm Summiya Yasmeen, managing editor.
In the February issue of EducationWorld, we talk on a very important subject, namely the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the national lockdown on early childhood education. As you know, youngest children are not advised to use the internet and digital devices for education. It's not advisable for them to be taught by these devices. Therefore, the prolonged closure of private early childhood schools, private preschools, and Anganwadis, which are for children, very young children, at the bottom, from households at the bottom of the pyramid, is resulted in a loss of learning for us.
Yes, in fact, the hardest hit among education institutions is perhaps the early childhood education sector. In Karnataka alone, they estimate that 1,000 to 1,500 private pre-primaries have shut down.
And the Anganwadis in particular are very important because they provide not only education but also meals to children from poor households and underprivileged households. So one doesn't know exactly whether these meals have been provided to them at their homes, or we might be confronted with a very big malnutrition problem among very young children. So please read our cover story on this, which talks about the impact of the pandemic lockdown on early years education, particularly preschools and primary schools.
Yes, in fact, there's a strong case also made here for phased reopening of Anganwadis and pre-primaries.
Yes. I don't think it should be delayed any further for the reasons that we just told you.
Yes, continuing further on the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and national lockdown on education, we've done a very interesting story called Counting the Cost of COVID Child Damage, where we've assessed the damage done to Indian education under 4 broad heads. One is academic learning loss, second is nutrition, third is the economic loss, and fourth is the emotional, socio-emotional and psychological damage which children have suffered because of the prolonged closure of schools. That's a very interesting story. It has a lot of data and statistics from the World Bank, from Child Nutrition Report, etc., giving very good data and facts and figures on how this damage has impacted children, and also gives a lot of solutions on how, for example, learning loss can be made up by educators.
Yes. Also in these issues, we've done an interview with Dr. Shashi Tharoor, who was a Minister of State for Education for a brief while in the Union Cabinet under the UPA 2 government, and he's very well informed on matters of education, and a very well-known author, litterateur, wordsmith, and perhaps the most popular politician among the educated middle class. Interesting interview done with Dr. Shashi Tharoor, which is also available in full form on our website, but he thoroughly endorses the position that we've taken, that education of children must be given, and human capital development must be given the highest importance, no matter how bad the economic situation.
Yes, and also we highly recommend that you check out our pictorial essay, which carries photo snapshots from our EducationWorld India school rankings, awards on wheels. As you know, this year, unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we could not hold our annual, much anticipated EducationWorld India School Ranking Awards, and we came to you all through the Awards on Wheels program. So check out our pictorial essay.
Because we are, despite the pandemic, we are determined to celebrate excellence in education and to celebrate principals, school leaders and others who've been ignored for the last, 30, 40 years. We believe they're doing a very important job, and we want to give them encouragement by celebrating their achievement and celebrating excellence in education.
As always, before we go, also check out ParentsWorld. We've done a very interesting cover story, 6 ways and means to boost child immunity against the backdrop of schools reopening. There's a lot of anxiety among parents as to how they can prepare children for schools reopening. So this is a very interesting story. Whole
what parents can do at home.
Health experts, pediatricians, doctors, nutritionists have been quoted describing what are the best ways to
safeguards
boost child immunity.
Indeed. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it's very interesting.